Right now, something is moving through our solar system that was never meant to be here. It isn't orbiting the sun like Earth. It wasn't born alongside Mars, Jupiter, or Saturn. And it didn't come from some distant corner of our own solar system. It came from another star, somewhere out there in the Milky Way, long before human beings existed. This object began a journey that may have lasted millions or even billions of years. Now, it's finally here. And after taking a closer look, scientists discovered something they weren't expecting. Hidden deep inside this visitor was methane. Not a huge headline by itself, but what that methane might reveal about the place this object came from is what has astronomers excited. Because this isn't just another comet, it's one of the only known objects ever observed entering our solar system from another star system, and it may be carrying clues from a world humanity has never seen. So what exactly is this mysterious visitor? Where did it come from? And why do scientists believe it could help us understand distant planetary systems without ever leaving Earth? To answer that, we need to start with something most people never think about. Space looks crowded. There are planets, moons, asteroids, comets, entire galaxies filled with stars. But the space between those stars is unimaginably empty. If our solar system were the size of a coin, the nearest star would be hundreds of miles away. That means an object traveling from one star system to another has to survive a journey through one of the most hostile environments imaginable. Freezing temperatures, cosmic radiation, total darkness, for millions of years, maybe longer. That's why interstellar visitors are so fascinating. They're survivors. Ancient travelers drifting through the galaxy long after the systems that created them may have changed beyond recognition. And until recently, scientists had never actually seen one. Then, in 2017, everything changed. Astronomers detected an object racing through our solar system on a path that didn't make sense. It wasn't orbiting the sun. It wasn't coming back. It was simply passing through. That object became known as Oumuamua. For weeks, it dominated headlines around the world. Some people even wondered whether it could be artificial. Most scientists disagreed, but one thing was clear. Humanity had just discovered its first confirmed interstellar visitor. Then, a couple of years later, another one appeared. A comet named Borisov. Unlike Oumuamua, Borisov behaved much more like a typical comet. It gave scientists their first real chance to study material from another star system. And just when researchers thought they might have to wait decades for another visitor, a third one arrived. This one, 3I/Atlas. At first, it looked like another exciting but routine discovery. An interstellar object entering our solar system. Rare, interesting, scientifically valuable, but nothing too unusual. Then scientists started studying its chemistry, and that's when things got interesting. Using powerful telescopes, including the James Webb Space Telescope, researchers began analyzing the gases escaping from the object. What they found immediately grabbed their attention. Methane. Now, methane exists in many places throughout the universe. It's found on Earth. It's found on giant planets. It's found in comets. So why was this discovery a big deal? Because this wasn't just methane. It was methane coming from an object that formed around another star. An object that had spent countless ages traveling through interstellar space. And researchers believe that methane may have been hidden beneath the surface for an incredibly long time. Imagine sealing a time capsule, not for 10 years, not for 100, but for billions. Then, suddenly opening it and discovering that the contents are still there. That's essentially what scientists may be seeing. Material preserved since the earliest days of a completely different planetary system. But here's where the story becomes even more fascinating. Methane wasn't the only thing escaping from 3I/Atlas. Scientists also detected unusually large amounts of carbon dioxide, and together, those chemicals may be telling a story. Every planetary system forms under slightly different conditions, different temperatures, different environments, different histories. As a result, the objects inside those systems developed their own chemical fingerprints. And when researchers compared 3I/Atlas to comets from our own solar system, something stood out. It didn't look quite the same. Its chemistry suggested that it may have formed in a very different environment from the one that produced Earth, Mars, and the rest of our planetary family. Think about what that means. For decades, astronomers have studied distant exoplanets through telescopes. They've discovered thousands of them. Some are larger than Jupiter, others are smaller than Earth. Some may even have conditions suitable for life. But despite all those discoveries, we've never visited any of them. They're simply too far away. The nearest known exoplanets are trillions of miles from Earth, so scientists are forced to study them from a distance. 3I Atlas changes that in a surprising way, because instead of us traveling to another star system, a tiny piece of another star system has traveled to us, and that gives researchers something incredibly valuable: a chance to study foreign material up close, not through a computer model, not through a blurry image, but through direct observation. It's like receiving a package from a country you've never visited. Every detail matters. Every chemical signature becomes a clue. And every clue raises a new question. What kind of star did this object orbit? How far from that star did it form? What happened in its original system before it was thrown into interstellar space? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how old is it? Scientists don't know the answer yet. But some estimates suggest this visitor could be extraordinarily ancient, possibly older than our own solar system. If that's true, then 3I Atlas isn't just a traveler. It's a relic, a survivor from an earlier chapter of our galaxy's history, an object that may have existed before Earth was even born, and somehow, after drifting through the darkness between the stars for unimaginable lengths of time, it ended up here, right when humanity developed the tools needed to study it. That timing alone feels almost unbelievable. But the mysteries aren't over yet, because as exciting as these discoveries are, there's one frustrating problem. Scientists still don't know exactly where 3I Atlas came from. At first, that sounds surprising. After all, astronomers can track planets billions of miles away. They can calculate the paths of asteroids decades into the future. So why can't they simply trace this object back to its home star? The answer comes down to time. Imagine throwing a leaf into a river. At first, you can easily follow it. But after enough twists, turns, and currents, figuring out where that leaf originally entered the water becomes nearly impossible. The same thing happens in space. Stars move. Planets move. Entire solar systems drift around the galaxy. And over millions or even billions of years, those movements become incredibly difficult to reconstruct. By the time 3I Atlas reached our solar system, its trail had become a tangled mess stretching across the Milky Way. Astronomers can estimate its path. They can narrow down possibilities. But identifying one exact birthplace is another challenge entirely. And honestly, that's part of what makes this object so fascinating. It's a mystery that may never be completely solved. Somewhere out there, orbiting a distant star, there may be a planetary system that once called this object its own. Maybe it was ejected during a violent collision. Maybe a giant planet's gravity flung it into interstellar space. Or maybe its home system went through dramatic changes that sent countless objects drifting into the galaxy. Whatever happened, 3I Atlas became a cosmic wanderer, a traveler with no destination. For untold ages, it moved through darkness, passing between stars, crossing enormous distances, completely unnoticed, until now. And that's what makes this moment so extraordinary. For the first time in its unimaginable journey, there are intelligent beings looking back at it, trying to understand its story, trying to figure out where it came from, trying to learn what it has seen. Of course, Whenever something mysterious arrives from another star system, speculation follows close behind. And this object was no exception. Almost immediately, people started asking a familiar question. What if it's not natural? What if this is something artificial? An alien probe? A piece of technology? Evidence that another civilization exists somewhere in the galaxy? It's the kind of idea that instantly captures the imagination. And to be fair, scientists didn't simply ignore the possibility. Researchers actually looked for signs that 3I/Atlas might be transmitting signals. They searched for unusual radio emissions. They examined its behavior. They looked for anything that might suggest artificial origins. But so far, they found nothing. Everything scientists have observed points toward a natural object. A comet, an ancient chunk of ice, dust, and rock formed around another star. And honestly, that might be even more amazing. Because reality doesn't need to be artificial to be extraordinary. Think about what we're talking about. Humanity is studying material that formed around a completely different star. Not through science fiction, not through imagination, not through computer simulations, but through direct observation. A real object, a real visitor, a real piece of another stellar system passing through our own. That alone is remarkable. And scientists aren't finished with it yet. As 3I/Atlas continues its journey through the solar system, telescopes around the world are collecting more data. Every observation adds another piece to the puzzle. Researchers want to understand its composition, its structure, its behavior, its history, and perhaps most importantly, what it can teach us about planetary systems beyond our own. Because every new discovery brings us closer to answering one of humanity's biggest questions. How common are solar systems like ours? Is our planetary neighborhood unusual? Or is it just one version of something that happens throughout the galaxy? Objects like 3I/Atlas offer rare opportunities to find out. Instead of looking at distant worlds through a telescope, we're examining physical evidence that came from one. It's almost like receiving a message in a bottle from another coast. You may not know who sent it. You may never find out exactly where it started. But the bottle itself still tells a story. And that's exactly what astronomers are reading right now. A story written long before humanity existed. A story carried across interstellar space. A story that survived for millions, perhaps billions of years. And yet, despite all that time, the ending hasn't been written yet. Because eventually, 3I/Atlas will leave. The sun's gravity may bend its path, but it won't keep it here. One day this visitor will disappear into the darkness once again. It will continue its lonely journey between the stars. And unless another civilization happens to notice it somewhere in the distant future, it may spend millions more years traveling through empty space. Silent, unseen, unknown. But before it goes, it has already given us something incredibly valuable. A glimpse into another stellar system. A chance to study material that wasn't born around our sun. A reminder that our solar system is not an isolated island in the universe. It's part of a much larger cosmic ocean. And sometimes, that ocean sends visitors. Visitors carrying clues from places we've never seen. Visitors carrying stories older than humanity itself. And right now, one of those visitors is passing through our neighborhood. A traveler from another star. A survivor of an impossible journey. A messenger from a distant and unknown world. And long after it disappears into the darkness, scientists will still be trying to understand the secrets it carried with it. Because the universe rarely sends us gifts like this. And when it does, we pay attention.